Hey Fit Fam, Coach Rye from Team Flex. Today we're going to be diving into the Sampson Showdown Wellness Pro Division, looking at our top 3 pro competitors, how the placings landed, and the why. And we're going to go a little bit in depth with the criteria here so that you get a better idea of what you need to be doing as a wellness competitor, and that's what we do on this channel. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, and if you've been watching me and you haven't subscribed yet, just know that I'm crying myself to sleep at night because of it. All right, let's go. So here we go. We got our lineup here, and some familiar faces if you guys have been watching the channel a bit. We got Bruna here. She's been doing great at a lot of wellness events of recent time. We got Cassandra Pennington, Cass Pennington, in other words, over here in second, and then we got Natalia over here in third. So a couple of our top 3 placing athletes at this wellness event. Sampson Showdown is great competition. I love that event. We've sponsored it in the past. We may again in the future. Pat, if you're watching, hit me up, man. But great competition, and again, we get to see a nice little look here at the wellness division and how things are developing. Obviously, we're still early in the season, and as competition continue to unfold, we can look at athletes and get a better idea of where wellness is going, being our newest women's division. All right, so here we go, Bruna again. So wellness must be the dominant lower body. We know this. You got to have the glutes that look oversized, you got to have quads that look oversized, and you got to have hamstrings that look oversized compared to your upper body. That, however, does not mean that you don't have this fullness and this roundness in the upper body, and you still need to focus on keeping that waist in check. Nice small waist is key in these divisions. That's what judges are looking for. So a disproportionately dominant women's lower body. We got tons of stuff on wellness on this channel. If you want to learn more about specifics of that, go to that. Otherwise, we're moving forward with criteria here now. So looking at Bruna, again, she always has a very lower body dominant look. Humongous development of the upper glute, which is a huge advantage for her in pretty much every pose, and really always screams to judges, right? Like, you wellness competitors out there, if there's anything you need to focus on more, I'll tell you what, it's probably upper glute, because that is an area judges are hammering and they look for, and if you don't have it, it's blatant, and if you do, it really does often signify, wow, that's a lot of development. Okay, this could be a top contender for a win here, right? And so Bruna has a very developed upper glute, really good overall glute fullness, and overall, again, a slam dunk for this competition for her. Cassandra over here, she comes in, looking a little bit more balanced in my opinion. Great physique still. Shoulders look a little bit, flatter. Waist looks a little wider. Overall glutes, not as much size to them, not as much size in the quads either. So again, still a great wellness representation of a wellness physique. Just looks a little bit more, on my opinion, symmetrical. In other words, right? Not as dominant lower body, a little bit more symmetry up and down, a little bit more up and down in the physique too, not as much taper in the waist. And then we got Natalia over here, a little bit of a different effect. She looks very actually dominant in her upper body, like really big delts, really big triceps, really big biceps, super dominant in the lower body, still kind of looks asymmetrical, but I think her upper body development is pushed too far at that point, and conditioning could have been a factor of that as well. She looks considerably a bit more conditioned than the 2 athletes above her. So, a little bit of a mixed pot here as far as physiques go, but that's what we'll see at many competitions, especially at NPC level. You got to be, keep it in mind that the criteria that we review and everything here is all dependent on the athletes on stage. So let's look at the back pose now. Back pose often tells the whole story, and we get to understand a little bit more why each athlete placed the way they did. So Bruna here, this is actually a competition she did a couple weeks back. She's actually changed her look since then. So if you didn't watch the most recent video where I covered her and her win there, you'll see it now. But her glutes here, fuller, they got a nice shape to them. Everything's good. Tie-ins look a little, tight. I think she could have filled out this physique a little bit more, and she did actually end up doing that in future events. Still, compared to the other 2 athletes on stage, it's the clear win. So looks a little too depleted right here in her lower body, but she did change that in future competitions, and that can be something as simple as how you do your peak week, how you do your post show, pre-competition, pump up. All these things can change. So definitely filled that out more, but overall, again, still the dominance in the quads, still the dominance overall, and very, very still disproportionately wellness from the back pose. Like, you can see the lower body is considerably clearly more developed than upper by far, and that's again putting her in that win spot. We look at Cassandra over here, and she's got, you know, a little bit different of effects. Shoulders look again pretty developed here. She's looks a little more symmetrical to me. Quads are, you know, you can see she's kind of like, in my opinion, she's got the wellness look, but very symmetrical up to down comparatively to the other athletes in this lineup, and I think that that is a factor that kind of put her into that spot. Needs to get a little bit more dominance with the lower body, a little bit more quad, a little bit more overall glute size, and maybe even consider toning down the upper body a bit. And each athlete is going to do whatever they want to do with it, right? We create the criteria as we go to competition, so that's how we look there. Now let's look at Natalia. So Natalia, again, you know, the shoulders, like we talked about, the arms and everything, she does look disproportionate here, but she's almost too overdone in the sense of the lower body, I think. You know, it looks very muscular, but it's too lean, too much right there. And again, from her front pose, she was way too muscular up top. Doesn't really showcase as much here, but her hair helps with that some and everything else. But overall, a little bit too grainy, in my opinion, a little bit too lean, a little bit too much striation there, a little too much size overall. So I think that's a differential that puts her into that third spot. So again, really cool to see how the division's developing up. It's a message from judges are saying, like, you know, we want the disproportionately dominant lower body look, but we don't want you to push it too far. We also don't want you to be too symmetrical. That's wellness division, ladies, gents, whoever's watching. So make sure you know that if you're training for wellness, you want to do well, get your lower body dominant. Don't neglect the upper body, but don't overdo it either. That will always land you in a lower placing, okay? And so I want to know what you guys think. Do you agree with the placings here on the screen today? Do you think that athletes should have placed differently? Do you like the way wellness is developing, where it's going, and what we're going to be seeing in future competitions? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Coach Rye is out.